Hi everyone, welcome back to another video of CambiHub, and in today's video we'll be doing IGCSE 0478 chapter 6, which is automated and emerging technologies. Now this is a really important chapter because this has been recently added in the Cambridge assessment in the Cambridge papers for computer science, and this is because it talks about all of these latest things that is going in the world, going around the world, which talk about AI, and other emerging technologies, machine learning and stuff. So this chapter focuses on that sector of technology, and it has recently been added. And since it's pretty in, so Cambridge will definitely give you a lot of questions, right? However, I have seen that there are two books, CUP, which is Cambridge University Press, and Hodder Education. In both of the books, CUP has less information and Hodder has more information. So you do need a guide, right, that we provide as CambiHub to you. We'll provide these notes and everything. If you join a community, the link, WhatsApp community, the link will be down below. All of our social links, including our website, will be down below in the description. So if you would require those notes, you can, obviously you can access. And trust me on this thing, you do not need to learn everything that's there in the Hodder book. So I'll simplify it for you. Don't worry. Let's start with the chapter. Let's understand what you need to learn here, right? Starting with the first thing, as the name of the chapter says, automated and emerging technologies. The name of the chapter is automated. It starts with automated. First, we want to understand what is an automated system. I always encourage my students to make their own definitions, right? Obviously, it should have the technical key terms. However, you should make your own definitions instead of learning or cramming up what's there in the book. So, if you think about it, an automated system is a system that will be automatic, right? So, the correct definition for this will be a combination of software. Obviously, we want the software and hardware, right? A combination of software and hardware designed to function without human intervention. Obviously, an automated system is something which is obviously, we are talking about systems here. If you think about your laptop also, or your mobile, whatever device you're watching this video from, it's a tablet or whatever it is. If you think about that device also, it is made up of two things, which is software and hardware. And that's what we want to talk about here too. When you're talking about a system, obviously it's a combination of a software and hardware, but an automated system will be automatic. So it is a combination of software and hardware, which is designed to function without human interventions, right? Which is designed to function without human interventions. Now, an automated system might have few things, right? The first thing will be it will have its components. Obviously, it's a machine, so it's going to have its components. If you talk about a automated robot, it's going to have legs, arms, and stuff. Within these components, there is something called an actuator. So actuator is a mechanical instrument which allows, maybe let's take an example of a robot. It allows the mechanical movement of that robot, right? So the robot will, when we give instruction, it will move ahead. So the what happens is the processor of the robot will give an instruction to the actuator, a signal to the actuator to move, and the actuator is the one which will help the robot to move. So actuator is responsible for the machine's movement, machine's mechanical movement. Anything that is physical, right? Anything that can be seen physical, it is tangible. We can touch it, right? That can be seen physical. So the movement of the robot, like I explained, is done with the help of a mechanical component called actuator. Actuators are in everything, in metros also, automated metros also, where or trains where the door closes itself. So when the door is closing, this movement is also done by this mechanical component called actuators, right? Hope you have understood what an actuator is. And also, automated system will have another important component. It will have several components, but these are the two major components that we are focusing on right now. Sensors. You have studied about all of the sensors in chapter 3, right? We were talking about flow sensor, we were talking about motion sensor, we were talking about infrared, we were talking about other things, right? So we have studied all the sensors in chapter 3, and that's how we are going to apply that logic in this chapter. So whenever a robot or an automated system does a thing, whenever it does a thing, how is that done? Right? How is that done? What is the whole process of that? So the next step for us to understand is the process of it. So let's understand this process, right? Okay. Firstly, A, the sensor senses a value, right? The sensor of the system will sense a value. This value will be physical or it will be analog. This will be then converted to digital using ADC, which is analog, a device which is analog to digital converter, right? Which is analog to digital converter. Then there will be comparison with a preset value. There will be a comparison with an already stored value, within preset value, pre-saved value. Then a process selection will be done where there are two processes. We'll have monitoring and control. Monitoring is just basically a prompt or an alert. I'll just explain this process in detail. And control is when actuators perform an action. Okay, coming to the process, understanding the process, which is really necessary. One last step which we missed is that this process is on a loop. So these are the steps that you need to learn by heart because this question is a guaranteed question. It will for sure come in your paper. It comes in every paper, almost every paper of Cambridge. So the process is pretty simple. This is just explaining how do robots or how do automated systems work. What is a conventional process that they follow? First is that they will obviously have a sensor. So the sensor is going to sense the value or the sensor is going to record the value, right? The sensor of the automated system is going to record this value. Now, when this value is recorded, right, this value can be anything. It can be temperature, it can be distance, it can be displacement, it can be speed, it can be, automated systems can be of different types. It can be a robot, it can be an automatic car, or it can be a toy car, or it can be maybe a, automated door system. It can be an alarming system. It can be an intruder detector system, intruder as in a thief, right? A thief detector system, alarming system. Any automatic system is an automated system. So they will have sensor, they will sense a physical value, right? Analog value. So they will sense an analog value. This analog value needs to be converted to digital, right? This analog value needs to be converted into digital value because computers cannot understand physical value. They cannot understand, analog value. They will only understand zeros and ones, which is binary. So hence this analog value needs to be converted to this digital value, which is done by a component or a hardware component called ADC, analog to digital converter. This is a component which converts this analog or physical data to digital data. Then the computer will compare it to a preset value. There will already be a pre-stored value and my system is going to compare it with that value. Then it will decide a process. It will decide a process. It can either be monitoring or control. Before moving ahead, let's see an example of how this is done. For example, we have an automatic door system in a metro where as soon as there is no one within 10 meters or as soon as people are not there within 10 centimeters of the door is going to close. This is the automated system. So firstly, for this, we'll be needing a proximity sensor or an infrared sensor, or we can say, a proximity sensor. So when there is Now what will happen is this sensor will continuously sense the value. It will continuously sense the value. If you want, you can include the word continuously here. It is really important. It will continuously sense the value. Then this physical value will be converted to digital and sent to the microprocessor. Now microprocessor will compare it to a preset value, which in this case is 10 centimeters. It will check if there's a human or if there's a person within the 10 centimeter range of the door. If there is no person within the 10 centimeter range of the door is going to, a signal will be sent to the actuators to close the door. If there's a person, a signal will be sent to the actuators to wait. I mean, there will be no signal to the send to the actuators because the train needs to wait then, right? So this is an automated system. Now there are two types of processes here. One is one is just a an information process, and one is where an actual action is being performed. For example, an intruder or an alarm system. As soon as an intruder is detected using a motion sensor, infrared sensor, anything, the alarm rings, right? The alarm rings. Now there is no physical action happening here, only the alarm is ringing. It's an alert, a sound, or only a prompt. Maybe in your system there's an automated system, only a message displays. In these kind of processes, only the system is monitoring. It will only give you a message, a prompt, or an alert. It will not do anything. So this is the monitoring process. Whereas a control process will actually perform an action. You know, when I give you the example of this door, the automated train door system, the doors are being the doors are being closed, right? So this door closing is a process that is happening. It's a physical action that is happening, and it is done by the actuators, right? So this is the control system. So this is the whole process of how automated system works, and this process goes in loop, right? This process goes in loop. Now coming to several sectors where automated systems are used. And there are several sectors which is also given in your book, right? So in examination, in your Cambridge exams, they will give you scenarios from these sectors, right? Automated system is used everywhere in these days, right? So they will give you an example from these sectors, and they're specifically going to ask the advantages and disadvantages of using the automated system there in that sector. So we have industry, manufacturing, transport, we have agriculture, we have weather, we have gaming, we have lighting, and we have science field, right? So these are all of the industries. However, you do not need to learn the advantages and disadvantages of all of the industries by heart and all of the scenarios and this and that is given in your book. You only need to focus on the general examples, and you can also make up your own examples. So this is a trick that I'm going to show you so that your burden is reduced, right, for chapter 6. And you can think about your own examples. For example, they give you they give you a scenario where we have an automated ticket scanning option. So there's a bus, city bus. People can join the bus and they can use their access cards, or they can use their cards to pay, to automatically pay. So the as soon as the person will enter, the automated system is going to detect their card and deduct money from that, and that's how they can use the city bus. Now, if they give you this scenario and they ask for the advantages and disadvantages, the advantages could be that they can reduce the costs for labor. That could be an advantage for them. You can write that. Or the advantage could be that it will be faster because automated systems are faster. Then the automated system will work 24/7. These can be the advantages, right? You can think about yourself also. If you imagine an automated system, automatic system working in this scenario, what could be the disadvantage? The disadvantage could be if there's an automatic system that people entering will have to scan their card, pay, and then sit. What if somebody enters as just walk in and sit in the bus without scanning their card? There is no way to check if everybody traveling in the bus is doing that, right? So that could be a disadvantage. Now this is where you use your critical thinking, right? Analyze the situation and you can think about the advantages and disadvantages yourself, right? What could be a general advantage? What could be a list of general advantages and disadvantages? We'll be discussing that you can use in all of these scenarios. I mean, based on the scenario obviously, but you can use in all of these sectors that have been listed. So first advantage is cost, right? Now this is an advantage also and a disadvantage also, right? Cost can be both initial cost when you buy the system, and maintenance cost when you need to maintain the system, right? Same for the disadvantages. For example, installing a automatic bus ticket system that might not be very expensive. So here cost can be an advantage because they can save labor cost also, and it's not really expensive, right? However, installing a whole robotic army in a factory or in an industry or in a manufacturing factory, there the cost of initial cost and maintaining the robots, that will be very high. So cost based on the scenario can be both an advantage and disadvantage. Obviously, when we talk about machines or when we talk about automatic systems, they can be productive, right? They can be productive, they can be efficient, right? This is a point you can mention. This is a point you can mention, right? There will be less chances of human errors and uncertainties. There'll be less chances of human errors because tend to make mistakes, right? That's a pretty famous proverb that we have heard. So advantage, right? Then robots can work 24 by 7, right? So this could be another advantage. However, disadvantage could be loss of jobs of people. Robots will take over the jobs of people, loss of jobs of people, or you can say unemployment, right? You can talk about unemployment, right? System can be prone to attacks, right? Obviously, right? Attacks, or you can say system attacks, or you can say failure, system failure, right? Right. So systems, obviously, it's an automated system. Machines do not always work as expected. They can crash also, or they can get laggy, they can get buggy, there can be bugs in the system, right? So system can be prone to attacks or system can fail also. So these are some general advantages and disadvantages which will help you to understand how automated systems work. Let's move on to the next sector of the chapter, which talks about robotics. Coming back to the chapter, the next topic is robotics. So, what is robotics? Obviously, when we talk about robotics, we are talking about robots and their computer science, that the technology there, how do they work, how do they function, right? How would you define it? Because definition is obviously asked in the exam, right? So, branch of computer science that focuses on COD, Call of Duty. No, this is just an acronym for you to remember. Call of Duty, it's not Call of Duty, it's COD, where C stands for construction, O stands for operation, and D stands for design of robots. So, an industry or a branch of computer science that focuses on construction, operation, and design of robots. Easy, simple. Now, robots can be of two types. They can be dependent, they can be independent, right? So, robotics, we are talking about robots, which can be both independent and also they can be dependent, right? So robots can be of two types. They can be dependent, they can be independent. Dependent means, robots, obviously, robots will work automatically, but a human is needed to intervene or to focus onto them to see if everything is happening right or if there's something wrong that needs to be rectified. So that is dependent. And independent is when there is no human intervention required and the robots can work themselves. Now some of the advantages and disadvantages of robots you can obviously you can take from here also, because robot is also an automated system, right? Some specific advantages to robots could be that robots can work in hazardous conditions, right? Where, for example, working with nuclear power, or where humans can be exposed to radiation and humans cannot work, robots can work there, right? So this can be an extra advantage. Rest all of the advantages and disadvantages remain the same. Now, there is one very tricky part of this chapter which talks about laws of robots. right? Laws of robots versus characteristics of robot. Now, students get confused here because they get confused between characteristics and laws. But remember, both are different. So let's discuss about the characteristics and laws of robots. Coming to the next, obviously the laws and characteristics of robots, right? These are two different things. So please do not get confused between them. Laws of robots, there are three simple laws. The first law is that robots can never harm humans. Pretty basic, pretty self explanatory. Obviously, they cannot harm humans. They always need to follow human instructions, but they do not, they need to obey law number one, which states that they cannot harm a human. They must protect themselves. Robots can protect themselves, but they obviously need to obey law one. They cannot go against that. So these are the three laws that you need to learn of robotics, right? Characteristics of robots can be they have a degree of movement. Obviously, robots can move, right? They have a degree of movement. They have sensors, so they can sense their surroundings and they're programmable. So humans can program the robots. Coming to artificial intelligence. So, artificial intelligence, we all know what is artificial intelligence. It is a branch of computer science that focuses on two things. It is a simulation of human brain and human behavior. So it's a simulation of human brain and human behavior. We are trying to copy human brain and human behavior into robots. And there are three types of artificial intelligence, you can say. One is a narrow AI, right? One is a general AI, and one is a strong AI. Now, what's the difference between all of them? So, narrow AI is does superior work to human. It does better work than human, right? General AI is it does similar work to humans. Whereas strong AI is an AI which does superior performance to humans in all of the tasks. It is just a better human. And superior AI or strong AI doesn't exist in the world till now, right? So these are the three types of AI. AI, subset of AI can be the more, AI is also a branch of computer science, but branches of AI, further branches of AI can be expert systems and machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence where machines are trained to learn from their past experiences or machines learn from their mistakes. What are the characteristics of AI? Like we did characteristics of robots, there are characteristics of AI also. So collection of data and rules, ability to reason, to learn, and to adapt to their surroundings or to their previously done mistakes, and they use machine learning. So these are the characteristics of artificial intelligence. Hope this is clear to you. Now, what is the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning? It's really important to understand that. So, artificial intelligence is a copy, is when we're trying to create a copy of human brain. Whereas machine learning is only when we are trying to train machines to follow a program, a set of instructions, and learn from their past experiences. We are not doing anything else, right? Whereas humans have emotions, humans have a lot of things which is done with AI, right? So aim of the AI is to build a brain like human, whereas machine learning is a part of AI which aims to make machines to learn from their past experiences, right? Which to learn from their past experiences. Moving on to the last part of the chapter, which talks about expert systems. Coming to the last part of the chapter, which talks about an expert system. As the name suggests, expert system is a system which is an expert, right? It is an AI that is developed to mimic human knowledge and experiences. So we are trying to mimic humans' knowledge, right? We are trying to mimic humans' knowledge and their experiences. They're usually, used for answering human doubts, right? They have a knowledge base, they have a lot of knowledge, they have a database of information where humans can ask and it will reply to the prompt. This is pretty similar. What clicks into your brain when you listen to this? AI, right? What kind of AI? Chat GPT is an example of an expert system, right? Because it has a user interface, right? So let's scroll down and talk about the components of an expert system so it's clear to you, right? So they have these four components. First is the user interface. Now, user interface is where you'll give AI questions, right? Chat GPT, it answers your prompts, it answers your questions. So there's a dialog box where you type your all the doubts, questions, and prompts, right? So that is the user interface. Then we also have an inference engine. What does the inference engine do? It is the processor of the AI, you can say. What it will do is it will follow a set of rules which is given by the rule base. Inference engine is the processor. So first user interface, user enters their questions. Using the rule base, the inference engine will use the rules from the rule base and search for the information in its repository of facts, in its knowledge base. Right? So knowledge base is where all of the brain of the expert system is stored. Repository of facts is it's a database of all of the uh, uh, you can say all of the facts, all of the information of the AI. So user interface. Firstly, you type into the user interface. The AI uses set of rules from the rule base, right? The inference engine then from the knowledge base, it takes out the information and outputs it back to the user interface. This is an expert system. What can be the advantages of expert system? Advantages and disadvantages of expert system. What can be the advantages and disadvantages? Advantages is they have a high level of expertise, high accuracy, and they're consistent, right? And high response time. However, disadvantage could be costs. Obviously, expert system also have their own costs. Can only rely on info in their database. Any information, anything that we ask outside it. For example, ChatGPT is was also restricted to 2021. If we asked information outside that, it gave an error. So it can only rely on to information that is there inside its system. And it tends to give cold responses sometimes. It tends to give, shady responses sometimes, which are not really accurate. So this is all from my side. This is Pranay Arora signing off. Now the difference between AI and machine learning that we discussed, it's really important. So I have prepared, this is the slide from where I was speaking. These are my notes. So you can pause the video and study it. Well, that's all for today. I'll meet you in the next video, and do not forget to subscribe CambiHub and visit our student community where you can ask your doubts and everything. Right? We also have tuition services. If you want, you can avail using the link in the description. Thank you and bye-bye.